Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This week's episode is gay. That's literally what I was thinking of starting this.
How did I not guess that was a surprise you said you would open with?
Yes.
Like, I should have known.
Yeah, that's literally what it says as our theme. We have a spreadsheet of everything, and it says this week's theme is gay.
You're listening to two people that know nothing about that subject talking about it
Yeah.
for an hour.
I know very little.
You know, the part that you know is that the internet thinks you're a woman.
The internet does think I'm a woman, and people in real life think I'm gay. So I know a little bit.
That is true. To the
know?
point that I thought you were gay at first too.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
That's my vibe, I guess, which I think is good.
Yeah,
I think.
it shows your support, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a feminine person, so so anyway, welcome to this week's episode,
The gay episode.
the gay episode. Yes.
First of many, I promise. We got more Troye Sivan albums to
I was
cover.
going to say,
so.
yeah, we'll have to pair more gay films with Troye Sivan albums.
Exactly.
We got
we got, Lady Gaga albums too.
That's true.
So
there's a lot of very talented gay superstars these days, which is very fun. I'm a big fan.
I'm trying to think of other ones, but
Chapel Roan.
that's true. I forgot. Literally just one new artist.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to listen to that album. I've heard like 2 songs from that album.
I have mixed opinions on it.
Really? That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yes.
I wonder if it's because you knew who she was before that album came out.
Yeah, I wasn't at the beginning of the the rollout of it, but I found her in 2021.
Which is earlier than 90% of people.
Yeah. I like finding new music.
Yeah.
We'll have more gay episodes, so we'll have to find some other through lines between these two works for this.
Or just expand it.
Yes, exactly.
We used the whole LGBT spectrum of words for every single other episode. And then we'll do part 2, the gay episode part 2 or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll find something.
We'll find something.
Yeah, we'll find something.
We'll find some through lines like usual.
Yeah, exactly. It also depends on the movie, I guess. If it's specific gay,
Specific
if there's
gay. I don't know if you should say that.
I probably should not say anything close to that at all.
Yeah.
But no, but I meant more of how you have erotic movies, like an erotic gay movie, then a sad gay. I don't know.
Yeah, a sad gay movie. Do you consider this movie to be a sad gay movie?
I guess, yeah. It's pretty. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself by bringing out my thoughts on this movie, but I would say so.
Okay.
But I won't say anything more until we get there.
Okay.
That's it. My name is David Akasarian. I am one of your hosts. Joining me, as usual,
is Brandon Roback, your other host.
That's right.
And there's a ambulance going by right now, so hopefully you can't hear that, but that's just what happens when you record in LA.
And we ain't re-recording that, so
Yes.
you are gonna hear it.
In a bedroom. With no sound treatment. But anyway.
And a giant window.
Welcome to Uncultured Pop Culture.
Welcome back.
Yes. The second episode.
Second of many. And what have you been listening to or watching, or both?
That's a great question. I haven't really been watching anything, although I really want to watch Severance. I just don't want to pay for Apple TV. So
yeah, I thought you had it before because I know you loved the first season.
Yes, the first season was amazing. I did get a 3-month free trial because I bought my TV and computer at the same time.
You should just create another email and just.
I might have to. Yeah,
that's the way to go. I'm lucky that I think I know someone that has a subscription, so I could watch like that. I just have never got around to actually doing it, but I want to watch it.
I haven't been listening to a ton of new music this week. Although I will be listening to Tate McRae's album soon, and I'll give my opinions on that probably on the next episode.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't? Oh my God. Okay. Well,
there we go.
She's going to be really important, I think, someday. She's going to be a superstar.
Okay, damn. All right, so then I definitely gotta get on the bandwagon of that.
Yes, exactly. But I have been listening to a band called Hotel Apache.
That sounds familiar.
I
feel
may
like
have mentioned
I
them
think
before.
you probably told me. Yeah, because I definitely would not have heard of them from anyone else.
Yeah, I've gone through their entire discography, so I've been listening to that a bunch. That's been on repeat this week.
I will say, like, I feel like you not listening a lot is like other people like listening all day, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I do spend a solid few hours every day listening to music.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
That's
it's
like
just not been like 8 hours like I usually do. It's not a full shift.
Not typically. I will say I started the new season of The White Lotus, which I know you don't like as a show.
I did not like the first season at all.
Which I will fight you over because I love that show.
That's fine.
It's really, really good. There's like...
Is it better than the second season?
I mean, I've only seen the first episode so far. Okay. The second one came out this week, but I haven't gone around and watching it yet because I'm watching it with my girlfriend, with Jennifer. So far, I really like it. There's a lot of like stuff it's just fun. And there is like a hinted incest storyline, which, hey, that's always fun, isn't it?
I guess so, sure.
No, but it's like, I don't know, it's interesting. We'll see where it goes. We'll see if it goes up or down. But so far, I like it, I will say.
Is it also all like entirely written by Mike White
this
season?
I think so. I think he did that every single season.
Okay.
And I will say I did prefer the second season over the first one, even though I did like both of them.
Okay.
So maybe you would too, but I don't know.
There's a chance, yeah.
I know you're not the biggest fan of Tanya McQuoid, which like I know that all the fans love her, so maybe not, but...
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something that didn't...
She's not in the season.
Oh, yeah, she's dead. I know that.
Okay. I didn't know I was
okay, I've been experiencing a lot of spoilers because it's almost the Oscars as well, so I'm trying to learn things about these movies because I've never seen any of them, obviously. So it's every podcast I listen to is just riddled with spoilers.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's a few movies that sound like they'd be pretty good.
Which ones?
Nickel Boys specifically. That sounds like it's
I want to watch
really
it. I haven't
good.
seen it yet, but I do want to watch it. That's
we
like one of the
that
few
this year.
Yeah, I think it's in theaters this weekend. Honestly, I'm considering like catching up on all the ones I haven't seen because I also never saw Substance, which I heard is really, really good.
I've also heard it's very good.
So we'll see. I just haven't seen that one. Like I've been looking religiously to try and catch it somewhere, but I haven't seen it anywhere. So I don't know.
It's not on streaming yet?
It is, but it's on Mubi. Which is
what is that?
That's like a smaller. It's more like artsy fartsy. You know, like one of the kind of like the Criterion.
Oh my god, I've never even heard of that. That's insane. That goes into the meme of everybody saying like, "Oh, you can just watch it on Tubi and watch it on whatever, just the random sounds."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, what can I say? But they're the ones that like saved it from going like straight to streaming or whatever. They bought the movie or something like that from like Universal, who didn't want to even release it, and then they released it and it became like their big hit. So.
Real quick, since this is the Oscars episode, before we dive into everything.
That's true.
Did you watch Emilia Perez and what do you think of it?
I have not watched it. I have not watched it, but Jennifer, who is Mexican, has like seen clips of it. She hasn't watched it either, but she's like, the Spanish is horrible.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
She didn't specifically talk about the other actresses, but specifically, what's her face?
Selena Gomez.
Yeah. And then I have listened to a lot of the songs and, you know, like obviously I haven't seen it. I'm not going to judge it. You know, I know about all like the controversies in both like Spanish speaking and like trans communities, but I was just like, I'm just going to listen to the songs and just from a purely like song standpoint, they are the worst songs I've ever heard. 100%.
You don't fuck with Penis to Vagina?
I fuck with it because it's so bad. It's hilarious, you know, like you can't help but laugh. But I'm just like, what the hell is this? And meanwhile, Challengers didn't even get into music, which is just like, this is the biggest bullshit ever. Because that was like the best move of the year for me. So I'm just like, I don't know. Are you going to watch it?
Watch Challengers or watch Emilia Perez?
Emilia Perez.
I don't know because I have such a very limited understanding of movies.
It might put you off musicals forever.
I'm already kind of on that wave, unfortunately.
That's true. But I get it.
But yeah, I don't know. There is a curiosity there of like, how bad can it really be? If everybody's saying this is like one of the worst things ever, I'm kind of curious to see like, is it really that bad?
Well, I remember when I first like released on like in TIFF or whatever, like one of those competitions, I remember like reading about it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I want to go watch this. But I didn't know anything about it. And there wasn't any controversy then. But now I'm like, I kind of just want to watch it to see how bad it is.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's technically a Netflix original, right?
I don't know, to be honest.
Okay. I thought that's what it was. But I know it's written by some French dude.
It's written, Jacques Audiard.
And he doesn't speak Spanish.
He doesn't speak any Spanish. He called like, I think recently he called Spanish like the workforce language of the world.
That's not good.
Yeah. And this was already after all the other controversies.
After the
Carla Sofia Gosco. Yeah. After her controversies.
Yeah.
So it was like, this is not going good.
No. I had heard a rumor that it basically had like everything locked up until these controversies. Is that true?
It was winning everything.
That's insane.
It got 13 nominations.
I mean,
which is one of the highest.
Yeah.
But
one of the highest ever, I heard.
Yeah. It's like, I think the highest ever, I don't know what film, I think it might have been like 15. So it got really close.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was winning everything.
That's crazy.
And I think now people are like, it's only going to win best song and best supporting actress.
That song is
which
crazy.
I don't get how. That is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like I would give it to like the next worst song from, a bad movie over any song from Emilia Perez.
Yeah, maybe I'll just listen to the soundtrack and experience it that way.
I would watch the videos from the movie because it's really funny. Like a lot of it is them just walking and like singing.
Oh, that's
Like if you watch the Penis to Vagina song, it's just like her talking to the doctor, walking down, and people are like dancing around them, and and they're singing about like vaginoplasties and stuff like that, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Why am I?
Oh my god! Yeah, interesting. That'll be. I actually am curious.
Yeah, it's like singing too.
Yeah,
most of the songs, not all of them, and I haven't listened to all of them, but like, I feel like a lot of them are, and I really don't like that. I think it can be done well in a musical, but I think 90% of the time it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
and I don't think it works here.
Should we get into some real singing?
Yeah.
Non-talk singing.
Some actual singing.
Troye Sivan.
Some gay singing.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Oh great. Second episode and
okay, that's fine. This is his like gay album.
Yeah.
His, like first...
Well, this was his coming out album, right?
No, he came out before.
Oh.
He's been publicly out. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been for a while.
Yeah.
I think it was when he was still on YouTube. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was pre-Blue Neighborhood.
And I also say that as a fan of Troye Sivan.
Yes, yeah.
Probably.
This is his like it's been called his like sexual album because he's like exploring his sexuality as a gay man, which
I feel tracks.
Yes.
Before like I feel because his next album,
Something to Give Each Other.
Yeah,
that's the one that we saw toured with Charlie XCX on the Sweat tour.
I feel like that one was like. And not owning it.
He's much more comfortable in who he is.
Being comfortable in it now, you know? But this one is the first one where he's actually like kind of coming to terms with it.
Yeah, and we'll listen to Blue Neighborhood at some point because I really do love that album as well.
Was that his first?
Yeah, that's his debut. And he has a song called Heaven, which is like explores some themes about religion and being gay. Which I think is a very good song, very good album in general. But yeah, this is the one where it's like, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I'll give a little bit of background of what I know. So this album was released in 2018 after a pretty long campaign of singles. The first of which was like, it wasn't technically like a double single, but it felt like it when it came out of My. And then it was like 9 days later was The Good Side. Those were kind of like the two lead ones, even though My is definitely more. That was like pushed to radio.
That feels like that was, like the main single of this album. Yeah.
And then Bloom came after it, the title track. I don't know the exact order. I think Dance to This came out after that, and then Animal.
Yeah.
So
5
singles out of 10 songs.
Yeah, that's like the time. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, by the time this came out, it was like, as a fan, it's not like disappointing, but it is kind of like, where's the rest of the album? You know, like why did we do so many? You would think
it has like 15 songs or something.
Right. Yeah. If you're doing that many singles.
But I do kind of get it. Like I get it from the viewpoint of like, those are I don't know, I think those songs work like I think all of them work as singles. I could kind of see it almost being like, I don't know which ones to choose, so let's just release all of them or something like that.
Yeah, and I also wonder if there was some label interference with that too, but
I could see that.
Yeah.
Do you know which label it was? Was it EMI?
Yeah, he's on EMI Australia. I think technically in the US it's Capitol.
That's true.
But anyway, so this album came out in 2018. Depending on what edition of Blue Neighborhood you choose to like count as the main one, I usually think of the deluxe as like the main one.
Yeah.
It was like 3 years after that. It's a fair amount of time in between albums.
Yeah. And then quite a long time between Bloom and
Yes, because he did release an EP in there, which like didn't really feel like the era was weird because it was COVID.
Yeah.
I think that was the spring of 2020.
Was it also like, something he like recorded mostly at home or something like that? Because I know a lot of artists did stuff like that.
Yeah, I am actually not sure. I'm not like well versed in that.
Yeah.
But we'll probably listen to that EP at some point as well. I'm assuming you like Troye Sivan.
I do.
We saw him live.
Yeah.
And he was very good.
Well, I had only heard like one song of his before that. One of Your Girls. I saw the music video. Jennifer showed it to me.
That's the one.
That was my introduction. And she was like, yeah, he was a YouTube, whatever. And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, we saw him in concert and I thought he did a great job. I thought he gave a really, really good performance. Obviously, like Charlie XCX did too.
Yeah.
They were both great, but I thought like, I don't know, I really liked his music.
I will say to all of the artists that will be listening to our podcast, because we're so influential, love when there's a double tour, like a co-headline, but especially what they did where they'd each perform like a few songs and trade off. Like that was so fun because you never knew what you would get next. It was kind of like, oh my God, this person could go away and we could get the other person coming out and playing like a bunch of their hits too.
And I think it was also really nice because you were like guessing when they were going to perform together.
Exactly.
And they would even like play off that by like calling each other sometimes. And you're like, oh, they're coming out, but then they wouldn't. And then they kept it for the end, which I think was nice too.
Yeah.
I like that they did that. But I think it was not only like a good performance from both of them, like separately, but together too. I think they fit together very well.
Absolutely.
Even though their styles of music aren't like, I wouldn't call them like super similar.
No, it's weird because there is like somewhat of an overlap, but it's not like a very noticeable one.
Yeah. It's
like they both kind of occupy a dance pop space, but like very different brands of that dance pop.
I'm happy that they have like two different. Yeah. I'm happy it's not the same.
And I'm happy with their collaborations as well.
Yeah.
They're great. I don't know if you've heard 2099, which is like the follow-up to 1999. Very cool. We will cover that when we listen to that album, which is Charlie's self-titled.
I've like, I know some of the names of her albums.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, I'm forgetting the name. Brad, Jesus Christ. Obviously, I know that one because like everyone knows that one, and I saw it in concert. But I looked through like her discography. So I know like she has one called Charlie, but that's all I remember now.
Yes. Yeah. We will cover that at some point. But anyway, back to Bloom. I really liked this album. This was the first album I experienced as like a fan of his. I discovered him late 2016, early 2017. I was introduced by a friend because I was always kind of like, oh, I know it like Youth from the radio, which I'm sure you don't even know that song.
No.
Which that's fine.
I never heard it.
But I was kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of a fun song. It's not like amazing or anything. Yeah. But so I kind of like not wrote him off, but kind of like in a way I was like, oh, well.
Yeah, you got it. Like,
I know what
from YouTube.
I know what his songs sound like. And I absolutely did not. This was the first like album cycle that I was like an active fan of his that I was following.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. My main complaint is that the album is short and there were a lot of singles, but like
it is short.
I don't know. It works in like dropping these different hits because there were a few different hits from the album.
Yeah. And I don't know. It is very cohesive, I will say.
I think so as well.
Like.
Yeah. That's aided by the fact that there's like 3 producers on the whole thing that are like the main people.
Yeah, I do wish it was longer though. Should we get into the songs?
Let's get into the songs. I'm going to start it off with this. I'm assuming you listened on Spotify to the Spotify edition.
Yes. It's the track listing is different.
The track list is wrong/different.
I noticed that when I was inputting my track ratings into your music, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that because I didn't realize there were 2 different versions of this album. I've always listened to the Spotify edition because I don't usually buy music, although I know I should. I just don't have the money for it.
You should get a vinyl player.
I know I should get a record player.
That would be awesome.
It's just expensive.
No, I know. Well, also it's like the newer ones, they break easier. If you want to get a good proper one, buy an old one.
Yeah, get like a Victrola.
Those things last.
Yeah.
That's what my parents did.
Like one that's like the size of a TV.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Literally.
Anyway, so the standard edition versus the Spotify edition, they both have one thing in common, which is Animals, the last song. Pretty much everything else is different. Plum is technically in the same place at number 7. I listened to the standard edition today, like the order that it was kind of supposed to be in.
Is it better?
In a way, yes. I'll give my biggest complaint is I feel like the good side should be the second to last song. I don't feel like that song should be...
I can see that.
Yeah, it's number 5 on the Spotify edition, so right in the middle, and it's number 3 on the standard edition.
That's too early.
Yeah, to me, it's just too early. That's such an emotional song that I feel like we need to kind of build up to it a little bit more.
I also feel like Lucky Strike should be sooner.
Yeah, Lucky Strike
last.
on the standard edition is number 9, which feels too late for it.
Yeah, which and I think part of that is the fact that it's number 3, right, in the Spotify.
Yes, it is number 3
edition, which I just got used to. I think
the one thing with the standard edition, starting the album with 17 is really good. That's
true.
To me, that is the perfect opener to the album. So I think my preference would be for the standard edition versus the Spotify, just because I think 17 is such a great like thesis song of the album. And instead of being number 4 on the Spotify edition, after you've already heard the 2 like big singles, My, and Bloom. Yeah. And then Lucky Strike, which should be a single essentially. I think that was the one that was like the New Music Friday song.
That felt like, that feels like the biggest song from the album kind of to me.
Lucky Strike?
Listening to it, that felt like that was the big one, just purely from like the sound of it,
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Let's start with the first song. We're gonna go in the order of the Spotify edition because that's what we listened to first. So My is the first song. And I'm going to do something that I didn't do last week. I want to shout out the songwriters and producers because that's like what I do, and I like the people behind the song.
I'm happy you're doing that.
Yeah. So I'm really bad at pronouncing people's names. So I'm going to use what their like professional names are usually, unless I know I can pronounce their names. So anyway, James Allen is a writer on this. I'm not going to attempt to say his last name, but he has worked as James Allen before.
All right.
I, as a white person, feel like that's kind of bad to fuck him up that badly.
You got the white names, I got the Middle Eastern names, but then that's it. Like we don't got the rest.
Yeah. So he wrote it. Leland, who is all over this album and has been with Troye Sivan for a lot of his career. Oscar Goras, who produced it as well, and then Troye Sivan. So there's 4 writers on this song. What did you rate this song?
I gave My a 4. I thought it was just a great song. I'm like, I don't even know what else to say.
I gave it a 4 as well.
Yeah, I think it's just a really, really solid. I think it's a great opener for the song. I don't think it's the best song to open with.
Yes, I do think like it has to be at the start of the album though.
Yeah, it needs to be beginning because it just like, I don't know, it has such a great beat to it, I think.
On the standard, it's the second, so it comes right after 17.
Yeah, which I think makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It's definitely like more of a dance feel.
Yeah.
And this song, I feel like, is the best through line, along with Bloom, to the Something to Give Each Other era of like, this is like when he's discovering like dance pop and like his brand of dance pop.
And I think it fits together very well with like the, the themes of the album of like finding his love, his love language and all that kind of stuff.
This is also the lead single. I wrote that on there. There's no other song that could have been the lead single. This has to be like, this just feels perfect.
It has the sound for it.
Yeah, it is. In a way, it is like a thesis song, although I will still say I think 17 is better as the opener, but this feels like a great like first introduction into this world, this era.
Yeah.
Big fan of that song. We move on to Bloom, the second song on the Spotify edition. This one was written by Leland, Oscar Holter, Peter Svensson, and Troye Sivan, and it was produced by Oscar Holter. Different Oscar Goras versus Oscar Holter. Both of them are great, and both of them are from like the Max Martin camp of like the greatest Swedish producers ever, basically. Yeah. I said I think this is the production is incredible, and the final chorus specifically, I love the final chorus. And I noticed that with the other song that Oscar Holter produced on this, it starts off like small, and then it just opens up into this like huge world, kind of
building up to it. Yeah. Again, same, like another 4-star for me, because I think the build is so good on the song.
And I'm going to be crazy here, and I'm going to say this is an example of a perfect pop song, in my opinion. This is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Wow, that's awesome.
I love this song, and I kind of forgot how much I love this song. Like, it's just so good. It's so tight. It's so clean.
I will say, I listened through the album several times, and I would always kind of forget Bloom. It isn't my favorite from the album, but I would always forget like just how much it works and just how much I like it.
How good of a song it is. Yeah. Because this was a single. This is not the most popular single. I think technically My is still the most popular, although it might be Dance to This with Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
But Bloom was released as like the third single. And I feel like it never really got the love it deserved.
Which is kind of crazy considering that like it is the namesake of the album.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And it kind of has the central theme of the whole album.
And I also want to shout out that both My and Bloom, I have very specific memories of hearing this on the Kroger store radio when I worked for them.
Respect for Kroger.
Yeah, back in 2018, which kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Bloom, like lyrically, if you like know what it's about, it's kind of like, wow.
Yeah,
okay, to hear this in a grocery store it's kind of crazy, but it speaks to how good the song is.
Also great lyrics, like the imagery of it.
Then we move on to Lucky Strike,
which I will say is one of like my top 2 songs. I give this a 4.5.
4.5. Yeah. Wow, you're higher than me. I give it a 4. Yeah. I really do love this song.
I loved this song.
This is written by Alex Hope and Troye Sivan. Alex Hope also produced it, and we have our first connection, which is why I specifically want to bring up like the songwriters and producers, because Alex Hope produced the original demo and then also wrote Magic Trick from the Night Games album.
Oh, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so we have a connection, which is pretty cool.
Damn. So we definitely should keep on doing this to find those little connections. That's so fun.
And Alex Hope was featured vocally on Blue Neighborhood, and she also contributed to a bunch of songs. So she's been around Troye Sivan for a long time. I believe she's also Australian, which makes sense. You know. Yeah. What did you like about Lucky Strike?
I mean, first of all, I thought the lyrics were so, like, I don't know, it just works so well. Like the imagery of getting like addicted to someone, like a Lucky Strike. I just love that. But I think it just also is just such a catchy song. Like, I feel like this whole album is kind of like that, where he is able to just write such, like the writers and Troye.
I mean, this is just 2 people that wrote this song, which is crazy.
I know, and it's so damn catchy, and it works so well. I love the chorus specifically on Lucky Strike.
Yeah, this is one that I always like remember from the album. Yeah. Like I have a few songs that I just associate with this album, and Lucky Strike is one of those.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like that's kind of why I forget Bloom, because Lucky Strike comes right after it on the Spotify version.
Right. Yeah. Whereas number 9 on the standard edition, which is insane.
Yeah. I'm like, how is it? I mean, I kind of get it, I guess, going out with a bang. Yeah. But still, like, I'm like, yeah. This should have been earlier. But yeah, I love this song. One of my top 2 songs from this whole album.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also really like this one. I guess I technically have 3 songs that are in front of it, but I do really like this one. And I mean, 4 is a good. Yeah. That means I really like put it in my liked songs on Spotify, which is pretty hard to get into.
Yeah.
So then we move on to 17. I don't understand why this song is here on the Spotify edition, because this is the album opener. Like, it has to be.
Yeah.
It's so soaring. It's so, like, emotional. I saw that he wrote it about a guy he met on Grindr, which I think is pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Written and produced, solely produced by Bram Inscore, and then also co-written by Ali X, Leland, and Troye Sivan. And rest in peace to Bram Inscore. I remember hearing, because his production work is all over Blue Neighborhood as well. Yeah. I think he's a great producer. And that's like, there's only been a few musicians that I've like known of and like actively been fans of that have killed themselves, and he's one of them. And I just I could not believe it when I found that out, because he's so talented.
That's crazy. Yeah. Our heart goes out to the people that actually like knew him. But yeah, like when you lose that talent too, it just like,
yeah. it's rough, and he's all over this album as well. He's got a bunch of credits.
I will say something interesting about this song is I didn't connect to the verses that much, but I love the chorus. It was kind of like this connect disconnect, like a weird mix of the two.
Yeah,
I did get it was lower for me. It was a 3.5.
I also gave it a 3.5, which is still very good for me.
Yeah, no, still.
I mean,
same for me. Like that still means that it's like a good song. But I was just like, I don't know. I just had this weird disconnect with the song.
Interesting.
Or I was like, I just find like the chorus so catchy. Maybe it was because like after like 3 songs that are all very catchy.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, wait, what? I
feel
got
like
thrown off.
The placement on this edition is it's part of the reason why it feels weird.
If it
because
opened with it.
Because as the opener, I'm almost tempted to give this a 4. Because it works so much better as the opening song.
Yeah, and I will say this is one of the songs where I kind of went back and forth. I was like, what should I give? Should I give it this? Should I give it that?
Yeah.
And I feel like, if it was the opener, that probably would have maybe tweaked it more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have come around on this song a lot, though, because I wasn't totally sold on it at first, but I do really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to see what happens like as I continue listening to this album.
And especially if you do listen to the standard edition, it is kind of it fits better in the context.
Can you even find that on Spotify?
Weirdly, yes. They have a released version of it. I think it's in like Australia technically.
Yeah.
But there's people who have made playlists of it like in the order it's supposed to be in.
Why? I don't get
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's been a few other albums that have been like that too. And there's been some albums I've listened to that like I used to own like the album. Yeah. And when they're on streaming, there'll be songs that like just aren't on there anymore. And it's not like it's a deluxe thing. It's just like the streaming version just doesn't have stuff.
That's
which is
really
weird.
Yeah.
After 17 comes The Good Side, which there's a lot of writers and producers on here. So I'll start with the producers who are also credited as writers. Ariel Rechtshaid, Bremen Score, and Jam City. The other writers are Ali X, Leland, and Troye Sivan. What did you think about this song?
I thought lyrically it was a beautiful song. The music itself, like I liked. I don't think it worked for me as well as some of the other songs. Okay. I gave it a 3.5. I think it's like thematically a very beautiful song about, like coming out of a relationship, but like not suffering, like having the good side.
Right.
I think that part of it was really beautiful. I think just musically, I didn't connect with it that
Interesting.
much.
Okay, I gave it a 4.5.
Oh, wow.
This is one of my favorites of the album. When this song came out, and also as the second single, which it was kind of like the A-B side, it's weird. I was like, who the hell in their right mind would write this? This is insane. Like, it feels like disrespectful, but it's so beautiful. Like, the lyrics are crazy. It's
I think probably some of the best lyrics from the whole album.
I agree. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people be really split on this song where they think it like feels insensitive to be like to the other person, where it's like, well, I'm better than you. But I don't feel that way at all.
I don't feel like that's the message of it at all.
No, it's like,
not like, I'm better than you. Just like sometimes that just happens, like, it is what it is,
Exactly. And it's, to me, this song is like haunting in a way. And I will say, I know you didn't love the production as much. I love the instrumental end of it. Like after you sit with like the lyrics of it, and then it's just like, it's just
I'm honestly
dark.
having like trouble remembering the end of it.
Okay.
I need to listen to it again probably.
I think you definitely should because it's really good. And I also loved the like vocoder. I think they're vocoder harmonies in what I assume is like the chorus, kind of like towards the end. I love this song. This was one that like going in, I was like,
is this your favorite song?
No, we'll get to my favorite song. Well, actually, no. Well, technically Bloom has the highest score. So I think
Bloom would
technically Bloom is my favorite, but there is another one that I always like think of as like, this is my favorite song on the album. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also gave that one a 4.5. So I don't know. I'm split on that. Maybe it should be a 5.
Yeah.
I've gone through like from last week and switched some things around too, and thought about the movie more.
That's the way it always is. That my thoughts never stay the same.
Yeah.
Ever.
I did decide on Mulholland Drive to 3.5. After watching this movie, I went and changed it because I was like, there is something I'll say about this movie that like shifted my mind.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm intrigued to hear it when we get there.
Then next up on the Spotify edition is Dance to This. This is written by Leland, Noonie Bao, produced by and written by Oscar Holter and Troye Sivan. This is the other song that Oscar Holter did.
This is my other 4.5 song.
Okay, interesting. I also gave it a 4.
Yeah, it's a simple song.
Yeah.
I just love it because it's so much fun.
This is one of the songs that I feel like should kind of define his career. Like, this is a great song. Like, it did get popular, but I still feel like it didn't get everything it deserved. Like, this should have like 2 billion streams. Like, this is like one of those hits that just absolutely should be everywhere.
I completely agree. And also, I think it's because it's so catchy and it just works so well as like a dance pop song, you know?
And the beat is very fun to dance to, I will say, as a former dancer.
Yeah.
This is a great song to dance to. I also said in here that I think Troye and Ariana sound great together.
Yeah, I agree.
There's some people whose voices just work.
I feel like there's a lot of similarity in like the style they sing maybe, or just like the timbre of their voice.
Yeah.
Or just something that just works so well together.
Yeah, it's very good. And I also wrote down here understated dance pop because it's not like aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, it's not I Feel Like Dancing from last week, which is like, that's kind of a dance pop song. Maybe you could make the argument. But
yeah, I could see that.
That one's much more like aggressive, like, woohoo, we're dancing. This one is much more quiet.
It's like, it's not laid back. It's just quiet. Yeah.
It's quiet and darker.
And I think it works so well.
It's really good and is really good in the context of the album too. Like, this production on this album is so cohesive.
Like, at the moment I heard the song, I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And this was like, I feel like every single time I listen to an album, there's one song that's on repeat. This was the one for me.
This was the one. Nice.
Yeah. This was the one for me. And that's why I was like, this has to have like a 4.5. I've even considered giving it a 5. And I got pretty close.
I feel like maybe you should.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we'll see where my opinion goes. I need to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get you a 5 one of these weeks, I think.
Oh, I'm going to hit that for sure.
Yeah. I'm thinking the album next week. I won't say what song it is, but there is a song on there which I consider to be one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
So
I will say I'm also still trying to gauge like my
where
rating.
You are. Yeah.
For pop. Because I'm like, honestly, I could see coming back and just changing all my ratings.
And it's also up to you to decide what a 3 is, because technically a 3 is like the middle if you use like 5 and 0.5, because you can't rate it 0. I mean, you can have it like unrated, but
but that still doesn't really count.
But yeah, to me, 2.5 is the middle, because 4.5 is the highest I go with like a regular rating, and then 5 is like, this is perfect. I will never change anything about this.
Yeah.
So
maybe I should just go to 5.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We'll see.
It's not like a scientific method or anything.
No, obviously. I mean, and it's go with your gut. So
yeah. Then on the Spotify edition, we move on to Plum. It was written by Ali X, James Allen, Leland, Oscar Gores, who produced it, and Troye Sivan.
Yeah. I thought it was a fine song. I gave it a 3.
I thought this was going to happen. This is my favorite song from the album.
Really?
4.5.
Oh, wow.
And maybe a 5. There's something about this melody that is just always stuck in my head. This is the one of the ones where when I think of the album, I think of Plum and Lucky Strike. Those are like the two that I'm like, these are the songs of the album.
I feel like they're such different songs.
They are, weirdly, but they kind of occupy a similar space in my mind.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like I'm always forgetting about the song.
That's fair.
In the context of the album, which I think is just like, I just didn't connect with like the music.
That's fair. I'm also much more, I don't know if I've said this on here before, and I'll probably say it again. I'm much more of a music person than a lyrics person.
Well, I will too.
Yeah.
Or I am too. I will too. I am too. Like, to be honest, a lot of times I don't even listen to lyrics.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like if a song doesn't catch me musically, I'm like, okay, move
that's
on.
fair. Yeah. And I mean, everybody has their own different preferences.
Obviously.
But yeah, for me, like when I'm listening, I'm thinking of like, how does this like move me musically?
Yeah.
And how does it like convey emotions?
So then like, how did this song affect you? How did it become your favorite?
I wrote, it's partly the guitar, like the post-chorus guitar melody just feels to me like eating a plum.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
I can't describe. And plums are probably my favorite fruit. So
plums are good.
Plums are amazing. And I haven't been able to find like any good ones recently. Like I feel like they're kind of a seasonal thing.
You
but
gotta
like,
wait for summer. Yeah, that's when you get the really good ones. I will say, little digression here. John's has really good like.
I thought you were going to say John's because you've mentioned that before, that their produce is really good.
Their produce is good.
That's a fun thing for all you LA listeners. Go to John's for produce.
Go to John's for groceries and international stuff.
Yeah, true.
International food. Yeah, and their deli is good. Anyway, back to music.
We'll get sidetracked with other things.
Exactly.
We got 3 songs left. Postcard, produced and written by Brayman Score, and then written by Gordy and Troye Sivan.
Right.
So only 3 writers on this song, 2 of them which performed.
This was a 3.5 for me.
Okay.
I thought it was fun, but it just,
this to me
is me that much.
This is a 3 for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really connected with this song, but I did play this album for my dad.
Yeah.
This is what got my dad into Troye Sivan, which is pretty surprising because he's like a rock person. Like Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin are like his favorite people ever.
Honestly, respect as someone that loves those bands too. Yeah.
But yeah, this was the song that got him into
I
Troye
would
Sivan.
not have expected this to be that song.
Me neither, because to me, like, I don't know, but to each their own. And like, I respect it because I did listen back to it and I was like, this actually is a pretty good song. It's just not something that I feel like I connected with that much.
Yeah, I feel like I just forget it.
Yeah.
Like I just pass over it.
This one and What a Heavenly Way to Die, I also forget about, which is the next song on here. I also gave that a 3.
I'm trying to, my computer shut off for a second. I need to open it.
This one, I'll do the credits.
I gave that one a 4.
You gave What a Heavenly Way to Die.
You know what's funny?
I
gave it a 4, but I don't remember it that well.
Interesting.
I feel like it's one of those songs where like, because I rated them as I was listening to them.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I really like this song. And then I just forget it. I feel like it's one of those songs, which I like. There are some songs like that where you just like, I should listen to something, and then you never listen to that song, even though you liked it,
Yes, I've done that a lot.
And I think maybe a part of that is like the first half of the album overshadowing it.
I agree. I do think the first half of the album is very strong.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot stronger than the second half.
And we're talking about the Spotify edition,
obviously,
because
Lucky Strike is in the second half of the other version
of the standard.
So obviously not that.
But What a Heavenly Way to Die was written and produced by Brayman Score, and then written by Ali X, Leland, and Troye Sivan. And I don't know if you've noticed the theme of Ali X and Leland being around a lot.
Yeah, I'm like, man, they're writing a lot of these songs.
And I forgot to mention on 17, I'm like 95% sure the like hey that happens after the chorus is Ali X's voice. And we will be listening to at least one album by her, if not more, because I do think she's a very good artist.
Another artist that I've actually never heard of before.
Yeah, she's more of like a songwriter. I think of her more as a songwriter because I know her more as a songwriter.
She writes stuff for like other people more.
Yeah, but her solo music is really good too. And she just released an album last year, I want to say, that was like critically acclaimed. So
damn, all right. Yeah, definitely gotta listen to her then.
Yeah. And then Leland as well. He's definitely more of a songwriter. He's like the in-house writer and producer for RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh shit,
which is really cool. He's also openly gay, so
that'll be a nice connection to tell Jennifer. She and her friend watched that.
Very good representation as well within songwriting, but I think he also has a few songs of his like own on his like solo career that are also incredible. Like these are just like some of the best like pop writers.
Yeah, and which I mean, you can tell why it was such a successful album. Like he surrounded himself with really talented people. As simple as that.
And then he's also really talented too.
That's true. Like he himself. Yeah.
Like I sometimes forget how good of a songwriter he is. Like he's genuinely very good.
And how good of a performer he is too.
Yeah.
He's like
his
singing. Yeah. Just like overall.
Yeah. And I feel like we're kind of getting off to a start of the podcast where it's like these are things we genuinely love. We'll get into stuff that we hate. Like, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Like, we're not going to be like this all the time.
We will get into pieces of shit.
It's easier. Yeah, it's easier for me to talk about things I love first.
Yeah. Well, and plus, it's like I don't know. I think it makes a nice beginning to the podcast. Yeah. To, start off on good notes
and to get an idea of what we enjoy.
Yeah. That's true.
And then we'll finish it off with the last song, the one that stayed consistent between the two editions, Animal. I feel like this has to be the closing song of the album to me. Yeah. There's no other song that could be the closing song. And I thought about The Good Side being the closing song, and then I listened to Animal again, and I was like, no, this is the one.
Yeah.
Just the way it's produced.
Yeah, I guess. I've never really thought about that. Like, what should be.
Yeah, this is one where it like brings up the idea of track listing, because I feel like The last album, I didn't really think about it too much. It just felt like it was the right order for the songs.
Yeah.
But this one, since there are two different versions of it, it's kind of like, well,
it's like what is better?
Yeah, what's the right one?
Yeah.
And this is something that I go through as well as a musician, of like trying to figure out what songs, like not only sonically but like lyrically
makes sense,
deserve to be next to each other. You know, this one has, I think, probably the most writers of any of them. A lot of producers on it. Ariel Rechtshaid, Brayman Score, Buddy Ross, Jam City, and Leland all have production credits. And then also written by Ali X and Troye Sivan. And then additional production, I don't know how to say this man's name, but he's British, so it's okay.
Gotta try it.
Bobby Kurlick, Krlic. And you may know him as the composer for the show Beef on Netflix.
Oh,
yeah, I
didn't know he wrote the music for that.
I learned that today. Yeah. He did the entire score of that show.
I'm trying to remember.
And he was an additional producer.
I'm trying to remember the score, but I can't remember it that well, to be honest. I did only watch it once, but I did really like the show.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of an interesting connection of something that, because I've also
fun
seen
when
Beef.
That happens.
Yeah, there's two ways that I like a score. It's either I'm not paying attention to it at all, and it's just like moving me, like immersing me within the world.
Which I feel like that's me and Beef.
Yes, I agree. And then there's the other version, which is what happened with Call Me By Your Name, in my opinion, where the score is so good that I'm thinking about it and it's also contributing to the movie.
Oh yeah.
But then there's also like the idea of the score being so bad that it's like taking away from the movie. But that's...
Which we will talk about probably in some cases.
Yeah,
too.
We'll get to that. But anyway, Animal, do you have any thoughts on this?
I gave it a 3.5. I think it's...
That's what I did as well.
Yeah, I think it's a solid song.
To me, this and 17 are like the perfect bookends to the album.
Yeah.
And they're both 3.5s.
See, now I want to go back and like listen to both of them and like look at it from that kind of view, because I didn't think about it like that at all. But yeah, I mean, it's just like a solid song to me. I didn't really like get into this one as much as the other ones.
Yeah, I
listened
agree.
To a lot of other ones more.
Yeah, I do think it is really good. And this was a single, which is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I feel like there are some other songs that were in singles that like feel a lot more like a single than Animal.
Yeah,
I
Lucky Strike and Plum.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like both of those are much more single. And I say that as someone
and
that,
even
like,
17.
Yeah, and I say that as someone that like didn't really like Plum that much.
Yeah,
it feels more like a single to me.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I do think Animal is a really good closer, and 17 is a great opener. Both 3.5. So to me, this album should be a 3.5.
Right.
That's what I rated it. I don't know if I was thinking about moving it up to a 4. That's what I originally had it as.
Yeah, because I was intrigued because like you do really love some of those songs.
I do. I feel like Postcard and What a Heavenly Way to Die just not connecting, and those two being in a row.
Yeah.
Just in this edition. And I feel like maybe in the standard edition, it puts Postcard at number 5 and What a Heavenly Way to Die at number 8.
Yeah.
That song is then in between Plum and Lucky Strike, and Postcard is in between Bloom and Dance to This. That to me feels a little bit better, and maybe that would make it a 4.
Yeah. I will say this was a 4 album for me.
Yeah.
A 4-star album. And yeah, I just think it's such a great exploration of his life. And it's also just such a good album. It's so catchy. There's so many catchy songs, so much great dance pop.
With little to no pushback or contemplation, I think I do want to change this to a 4. Because thinking about the standard edition, which is like, I assume how he wanted it to be heard.
I would think so, yeah.
I think this is a 4 then for me.
Yeah, right?
So
we're in agreement.
Nice.
Shall
we move on to the movie?
Let's do it.
Call Me By Your Name.
All right. So first of all, directed by Luca Guadagnino, who is an Italian director. I want to quickly go up to the credits. There's a lot of producers, so I won't go through all of them, but it's written by James Ivory.
Do you know his age?
Yeah, he's old. He's like in his 80s or 90s.
He was 89 when he won the award.
Yeah.
For screenplay. He's still alive, by the way.
Yeah. And it's like what? Like 8 years later or something.
Yeah, he's 96 now.
He was actually a film director.
Yeah.
I think he's retired now, but he wrote a lot of he directed a lot of period pieces. Specifically, I think like it wasn't only period pieces, but it was mostly like British period pieces, in the 90s mainly. To the point that I thought he was British, but he's actually American. He's from Oregon, I think.
Yeah. I saw that as well. And then his partner.
Yeah. His partner, both professionally and in life, whose name I can't remember right now. I'm trying to remember.
Merchant, I know is his last name.
Yeah,
Ismail, I think.
I think yes, that's what it is. Ismail Merchant. He would pretty much, I think, produce their films. And I think he might be British, which is where maybe I'm getting part of this.
He's
British.
Indian.
Oh, he's Indian.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like writing the woman.
They had a
that
writing partner. I
Ruth,
could never.
I know is her name, but I don't remember.
I don't remember her
She's
last
British.
name. Yeah,
or
so maybe
she's
that's
German. I don't know. Something.
Anyway.
Yeah,
but
it's really confusing.
It's pretty much like there was this trio that would make a lot of movies. I've seen 2 of their movies. One of them was a room with a view, which I didn't really like, but I think that's more because I just didn't like the book. Just the story. I never read the book. But then they wrote Remains of the Day, which I highly recommend everyone. We'll have to cover it here. And it's with Anthony Hopkins, who is...
I do know who that is.
Yeah, you do know who that is. Who gives the performance of his lifetime in that movie.
Okay.
Like his best performance, hands down. But yeah, pretty much why I wanted to bring up James Ivory because I do think he's a very instrumental like part of this movie.
Yeah, the screenplays.
Yeah. I think beautifully written. I've never read the book itself because it is adapted from a book, but I think he did a great job. And I'm, certain that, there was a lot of personal connection to it, as a gay man himself.
Yeah. And someone who's that old, having lived through that many periods of history
having
and
seen
of like
so much.
gay rights across the world.
Exactly. But moving on to the director, Luca Guadagnino, he's obviously Italian, and this was actually his first English language movie, I believe.
Really? I did not know that.
I believe it was. The thing is, like, it's part of his Desire trilogy.
I saw that,
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the first 2 movies in that trilogy are in Italian. And this was his big break.
I can see why.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the big break for Timothée Chalamet, too. Like, this was what brought him to the forefront.
Was this the last movie for Armie Hammer before the cannibalism or
no,
not? Okay.
He wasn't. This was 2017. That came out like 2021.
That was that? Oh, I thought that was like Me Too era.
It was a long period.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, because I think it was a mix of the cannibal stuff and like other stuff. And it just took a while for it all to come out.
Yeah, because that's all I associate with him now, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. No, when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, hey, it's the cannibal. Like, he's arrived,
Yeah, and then they were kissing, and I was like, I wonder what he's thinking as they're kissing. Like, does he want to eat him?
I know, like, while they were filming those scenes. But yeah, I mean, let's get into it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of movies, but this was incredible.
Yeah.
This is like...
Such a beautiful movie.
My God. Basically everything about it is like perfect.
Yeah.
I love the location, love the like the cinematography and the way it was shot.
Yeah, beautifully shot.
I mean that also helps when you have like such a gorgeous, and I hesitate to call it a set because this is like a real place.
Yeah, I think like, they just fully like found these places, which is like, it's Italy, you can,
I did see, I think where they shot it had something to do with like where Luca Guadagnino like spent time when he was younger or something like that. So he like had a personal connection.
And
to
I
where
feel like you
it.
can kind of see those personal touches in the way he films stuff,
Absolutely.
I feel like it translates. No, and I feel like this film is one of those special films where there are just these moments that just hit you. Like for me, the moment that I was like, wow, this is like an amazing film was the moment after they get on the bus, like the last time together.
Yeah.
That whole section where the song is playing and they're like running up the mountain. Like that whole section. Yeah. That whole section was just like, I don't know. It literally felt like magic,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the feeling of like what that's like.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, it's one of the few films that can like translate like feelings like that so well, and I think that's something that like I think even Luca Guadagnino hasn't fully been able to like do that again. And I say this as someone that loves like his other movies. Like I absolutely love Challengers. I think that movie is very different, but he released another movie called Queer, which
Daniel Craig, right?
Yeah based off a book. It's a very different movie. But I think, it has obviously some similarities, but I didn't end up connecting to that film as well. And I think maybe partially it's because the book is just, very different thematically. But I just think like this specific film of his has something that just really magic.
There's something about it that's just special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to like go back to what else I loved about it, the score is crazy. The piano, I forgot like how much a good piano score like changes the feel of a movie, because it's not as common as it should be.
Well, yeah, and I think, wasn't it also like a lot of it was just classical music, wasn't it?
It might be. I didn't do too much research into that. Not as much as
I feel like I might be mixing up the score with also just like what Leo plays throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like they used some of the pieces that he plays in the score too, which I think is such a great.
Yeah, it's like a callback, but it's also like developing the world.
Yeah.
Like the score isn't like it is obvious because of how good it is, but like it still feels like it's perfect.
And it also fits in very well with the songs that come later. Like tonally, they just fit so well together. Yeah, but I absolutely agree with that. And it's not something that you like would think would be a standout, because you're like, oh, it's, you know, like a love story. You don't think about the score, but then it does get you. It really does.
Yeah, the score. What was the other? Oh yeah, I think the casting.
Yeah.
Like, as much as Armie Hammer is like a bad person, he was perfect for the role. Like, oh my god.
And that's I will say that is the weird thing about Armie Hammer, where you're like, because he's also from a rich family, so you could also be like, yeah, he got in because of nepotism, but he does give a good performance. Like, I'm sorry, but he is really good. Obviously, like, I'm happy he's canceled, you know, like, obviously, but I'm like, damn, he did give a good performance in this film. You know, and same thing with like Timothée Chalamet. Like,
I was gonna say,
someone that was always kind of like, yeah, whatever. After seeing this film, you can see why.
Oh my god, yeah. I told my roommate after this, I was like, I see the appeal, because she loves Timmy. Yeah. And I was always kind of like, oh yeah, he's fine. Yeah. And then after seeing this, is like, oh my god, like, I see it. That's so good.
Like the ending, where he's just sitting there
by the fire. Holy shit!
Is just
that.
I love that they held just on that for all of like the
credits. Absolutely insane. Yeah, so good,
perfect.
Yeah.
I will say, not my favorite Guadagnino film. That is still Challengers.
Interesting.
But I think it's a type of thing where they're both just very different films.
Yeah.
Where like I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, this is also my favorite. You know,
I
like
do
they
really
can
want to
both
see Challengers
exist together
now.
like that. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're just both perfect films. Both of them.
Nice.
That's
impressive.
Crazy for one director.
Luca, how old is he? He's like in his 60s, right? Yeah, so he's still got some time left to make like more masterpieces.
I think he has another movie like coming out next year or something like that.
Yeah, I think I did hear about that.
And he released 2 movies 2024, which is crazy.
That is crazy, yeah.
And they're both like
Steven Spielberg type beat.
Yeah, I know. And they're both very like different movies.
Yeah.
And I may not have liked Queer that much. That was a weird movie, because the first half I loved, and the second, well, not loved, I really liked, and the second half I was like, this doesn't work.
Interesting, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what he does next. He's definitely like one of my favorite directors working today, and you should check out his other movie, Bones and All.
Yes,
also about.
I did hear that's really
ironically cannibals in that movie, even though Armie Hammer isn't in it.
Oh, and I know it takes place in the Midwest as well. Yeah, so.
You might see some similar side. We should add that.
We should watch it. Yeah.
I will say there's a weird thing with me with like Call Me by Your Name, where like I don't even know what to talk about. Like, it's just perfect.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. So I will bring up should I tell you my score so then I can kind of explain?
Yeah, I want to hear your score.
So my score for this movie is a 4.5 out of 5. Mm-hmm. And this will not be changing. I thought about it a lot after I watched the movie, and I was like, because this should be a 5. And there's one reason it isn't a 5 and never will be a 5. Yeah. It's the fact that I'm just going to use like whatever names I can think of. It's the fact that Elio and the girl are like a couple that I don't like. I like them better being like best friends, like really close best friends, instead of being like a love interest. And I feel like that, to me, it stops it from being like, not like a fully gay film, but like, you know what I mean?
No,
it's like, I feel like the story is so much about Elio's like discovery of his sexuality that kind of like, I don't know, it didn't ruin it for me, but I was kind of like, why is this here?
Yeah.
And I did talk with my roommate about, because she's read the book, and she said something which I have not read the book, so this might, I don't know,
could be different.
She did say that in the book, it's much more of like a close friends thing, like best friends, like childhood best friends kind of thing, instead of like a relationship, which I do like a little bit better.
Yeah, you can sort of like, it is kind of set up that way, but then it does verge into a relationship.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I feel like I didn't even like focus on that aspect of it because I was so taken with like the love story in like the second half, like as it like fully develops into the love story.
Yeah.
But that is a good point.
I understand why they did it too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Because like being a reformed screenwriter, I understand that like the emotional stakes of having them be in a relationship and having that scene of her being like, so what are we, is like much more.
And I think
it hits more.
I think it works for me because it is, I feel like it fits in with the, you know, this is just a lost kid who is like coming to terms with like, you know, who am I? Like, what am I interested in?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I feel like it works where he's just like, I should date, you know, a woman because guys do that.
Right.
You know? And he just doesn't fully understand himself. And then, you know, at the end, he comes to understand that, no, like, I like, you know, I'm in love with men. And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like the complicated part of your life when you're that age. Yeah, I think it works for me, but I do understand like being like, you know, I do understand that.
What did you rate it?
I gave it, I'm always very careful with giving things 5 stars because I know I'm very much the kind of person that could fall in the trap of giving a bunch of stuff 5 stars. So I gave it a 4.5, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it deserves 5. I think I might bump it up to 5.
That was kind of the thing I struggled with.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is my reason it can't be a 5. Because to me, a 5 is perfect, that there's no notes of anything, that I would not change a single thing. And if I was rewriting this script, I would have changed that. I was thinking like as myself.
Well, see, that's making me wonder because that's like something that I don't have a problem with really. Yeah, I don't know. Because for me, I've like literally gone through my 5-starred movies and like taken some out where I'm like, that shouldn't be here. So that's why I'm always really careful about that. But honestly, I'm like this, you know, I don't know. I keep thinking about like those little moments that just hit you, and I'm just like this, you know, I kind of have to give this a 5. So I probably will. It's such a beautiful film.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, going into it, you're like, yeah, this is probably gonna like wreck me, but you're like, but I'll be, you know, whatever. And then you get into it and you're like, oh Jesus, I was not ready for this, you know.
No, it's interesting too because there are like kind of 2 distinct halves where there's
very
like,
much so, yeah.
It's not like the inciting incident, but in a way, like the kind of the turning point is like the midpoint, I guess, kind of shifts everything.
It's a very like slow build to that point.
Yeah, and I did really enjoy that because I was kind of like waiting for. I knew like, oh, he's gay and he's in love with Armie Hammer.
You know what's coming, but it's just like that slow build up really helps you. I don't know. I feel like it just like lets you first exist in the world.
Yes,
and just get to know these people, and then just fully explore it.
Because then the weird thing is too, like I paused it at one point. To probably grab food.
Yeah.
And I remember looking and I was like, wow, I'm only like halfway through. And then the second half of the film felt like it was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just you go through everything and it's devastating.
Yeah. And
it's really good.
It's so good. Like literally, like as you think about it, you just remember these little moments that like just affect you so much. Like I just remember the part where after Armie Hammer's character leaves, where he just goes and calls his mom.
Yeah, that was...
like that little moment. I think that moment is probably the most tragic moment in the whole film. Thinking about it, maybe like aside from the ending.
Yeah,
like not tragic, but like just the saddest. Like just the way he does that, I think just hits you so hard. You know.
For sure. Yeah. It's, I mean, I'm just like thinking, I'm not even like thinking of specific moments. I'm just thinking of things that I saw.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just beautiful too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's one of those movies where it's like, this is a world that I just want to live in. You know?
You just want to keep exploring it.
Yeah. And to me, this is kind of like the perfect theme of the movie that I enjoy. Like, this is the archetype. I want someone to I want it to end badly, I guess, where it's like this character got everything he wanted, and then he just wasn't able to keep it, and it's so beautiful, and it's like it's romantic in that way of like nothing is working out like in the end.
It feels
even though they shared that time together.
Yeah, and it feels very true.
Yeah,
I feel like. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I don't know. I can't really say that because I'm in a happy, stable relationship, but I feel like it's true for a lot of people. And in the way it happens, because it is kind of just like over a phone call, hey, by the way, I'm getting engaged. And it's like, oh, you know, that's it.
Yep.
You know?
To a woman, too.
Yeah, a woman, too.
Yeah. Another aspect of this that I thought was very interesting was that his parents, like, kind of knew and didn't question anything. Like, they let him...
let him find
find himself. And I thought that was really, really good as well.
And it's also interesting because I feel like I was like 100% the dad knows very early on, but I do kind of feel like the mom, you're like, does she know, does she not know? And then by the end, like, oh, she does. But I do wonder, like, when she, like, realizes. Because I do kind of feel like she just doesn't realize like the dad does. And I do think that there is some kind of like, we kind of get it where the dad talks to him and stuff like that, you know, like the dad is the one that is building like this very positive relationship with him, which I think is really beautiful
as well. Yeah, like, talking to his dad, that's towards the end, but like
I think that it's just like such a beautiful representation of like his relationship with his dad too.
Yeah, it's it's really good. I mean, this is kind of crazy. I feel like I'm not going to have a lot of 4.5 movies. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe you've got some that are like just incredible.
I've got some like, you know, that I think will also be 4.5s, but you know, it is kind of hard to beat a film like this, you know?
Yeah. That's why part of me is like, it should be a 5, but I know there will be something where I'm not even thinking anything during the film. I'm just experiencing it, you know?
No, and I do firmly believe that this movie is like, and like, don't get me wrong, there are so much work went into this film from so many people, and all of them deserve praise, except Armie Hammer, but that's, you know, that's because
he did a
good job, but he's still a cannibal. So,
and I think he's also an abuser.
So you know, but like obviously there's so many people that put so much great work, but I do firmly believe that like it was the perfect collaboration of James Ivory and Luca Guadagnino as director and writer. And I honestly think that when we watch Remains of the Day, that might be another 4.5 or 5.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a very different film, and it's the type of film where literally everything is under the surface. But it just it does have very similar themes. It's not about a gay relationship, but it's about a different kind of relationship, and it's also really beautiful. And I think you can tell just how good James Ivory is at working with relationships, whether it's directing it or writing it. And I think like I do kind of feel like he's kind of overlooked for this film, even though like he won the Oscar. His name. He won the Oscar for this, which I'm so happy that he did, because I think he 100% deserved it. But I do think he's very overlooked, so I did want to shout him out. That's why I wanted to like bring him up specifically. Although, you know, again, like Luca Guadagnino also deserves all the praise he got for this film, because he did such a great job. Because it's such a beautiful film.
I mean, I don't even know what else to say other than just like praise. I mean, this is probably going to be one of those ones, like, already I watched it a week ago and I'm already like, I want to rewatch it. Like, and that does not happen to me with movies. Like, I don't want to rewatch movies, but world.
It gets you like that. And I have found for myself too, it was like, not only do I want to rewatch this, but now I want to rewatch this with Jennifer. You know, like I feel like it makes you want to like experience it with other people you're close to too. You know, which I don't think like a lot of like love stories can do that successfully, you know, especially one that ends so sadly as this one, you know? So it's just like, there's nothing but praise. Like I don't have anything but praise for this movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
A 4.5 for both of us.
Yeah.
So
I will
successful.
say probably I'm gonna switch it to a 5.
You do 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just how you're gonna switch the album, I'm gonna switch the movie.
Yeah.
Because I think it deserves that 5. It needs that 5.
Nice.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Yeah,
I think we have a good pairing. I don't really know anything about the movie next week.
I'm looking forward to using this movie. And I've started listening to the music, and I don't want to say anything about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to spoil anything, but I am excited.
It's a good pairing?
I think it is a good pairing.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I am so excited because I do love this film so much that we're going to watch next.
Yeah, is this one of your favorites?
This is one of my favorites. It's also one of my favorite directors, and I do love the genre. And I think this is one of the best examples of the genre. I don't want to get into it too much, but
don't say any other names.
I do think it suffers from the fact that it is so well known. Because I think you're like, everyone talks about this. And then you watch and you're like, oh shit, But that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So come back to next week's episode. Same time as this one, but next week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you then.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.